Alright, it's showtime. I've only got 57 minutes of memory currently, so I better hurry up. I was explaining to my friend that I'm traveling with that a diesel has no butterflies for the intake.
It has no throttle.
Because it doesn't...
Valve body thing.
Exactly, no butterfly valve. Just straight into the intake port. So what we're going to do this beautiful morning in Lompoc, California is take off the optical sensor cover and find out why the optical sensor is at the end of its travel when it should be somewhere in the middle. Somebody may have been in here tinkering, may have changed the sensor, not realized how important the timing was. We got to figure it out.
Ooh, down that hole there.
Yep, no butterfly.
Is that where all our fuel is going?
If this was a normally aspirated, not a turbo, there'd just be an air cleaner lid here.
That's oil that gets sucked in through this
Tube right there.
Through this tube on the valve cover.
Blow by.
That's called the CDR valve. It's
compression,
depression
release.
Yeah, regulator.
Yeah, and they're $50 even on Amazon.
Wow.
What it
AC
does
Delta.
is it's like a PCV valve.
Yep.
It's positive crankcase ventilation, except it works opposite. The turbo pulls in a ton of vacuum when it spools, and that sucks oil out of the valve cover.
Too much.
Too much. So what that does is when the vacuum comes on, the diaphragm closes it. Mostly.
I looked inside there, and all it is a diaphragm and a spring.
It's supposed to close it to prevent the oil from getting sucked out, but it doesn't always work that great.
They say that they get clogged eventually, especially if you have a lot of blow-by. So new one's $50. Takes a minute to change.
And if you have a lot of blow-by, it would help to use like a thicker oil. It wouldn't.
All right, that's coming off.
As much. It wouldn't.
There we go. The top is off. The injection pump got a shady-looking silicone gasket. There's the optical sensor with the white wire, held in place by a T40 maybe? T40 Torx bit. And it's all the way at the end of the adjustment to the driver's side, and I don't think it should be there.
Edit. Look at the 10-1 note.
I'll show you how to use that phone in a second.
Save and more. Can
No,
you?
hang on.
Home, last name.
Yeah, it's very sensitive.
Okay, here we go. All right.
So how much movement is there altogether in inches or millimeters? Maybe 1/8 of an inch total?
We'll find out here.
And that reads the disc on the pump, which is attached to the timing gear, which goes down to the cam gear. It's reading the cam timing. Very interesting.
Now, when he moved this, did the center move from side to side, or just the?
I think the whole thing rotates.
Just the whole thing moves.
I think the whole thing moves. The whole optical sensor moves under the screw, and there's a slot under that screw, I think. I did look at it.
Yeah, I was just wondering if does the middle part move independently of these two sides?
I don't remember.
That's what I thought.
Everybody has their tolerance level of how they want people.
See, I had to move the center square to middle of the rectangle. Center square.
I'm trying to put a round peg in a square hole, huh?
Yeah, but then also this rectangle should probably be centered in the middle, but then the square centered in the rectangle. The rectangle moves very easily, so just like that. Can give that a try.
Should I crank it up right now?
No.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing. Imagine people that
very,
engineer.
This is very sensitive, like getting it wrong. It's easy to get it wrong, but still work.
Well, that's what it was, because when he put it together, he said it was all the way to the right, to the driver's side, and And I thought to myself, wow, you'd think that it would be somewhere closer to a middle position,
Yeah.
not at an extreme.
Yeah, so maybe we should give that a try. Tighten it down, put the stuff back on the top and the lid, and
Check to make sure there's no debris on the top of the housing. It's clean, and the top cover is clean. There's no little pieces or chunks, because this may be the only time that we open it up. And don't drop anything inside there.
yeah, you probably don't want to tighten that as much as that previous
It's aluminum.
guy did. That was, you know,
That was torqued.
You're gonna break something, you know.
I shouldn't put a torque wrench on it?
Oh, you can put a torque wrench on it.
Inch pound.
Inch pounds, yeah. Probably, you know, 90 inch pounds or something.
You put your hand in the middle of the ratchet, because you don't want to use the lever effect of going to the end. You tighten it off the middle.
Yeah. 94, you'll find a non-EGR.
So this is a 3/4 ton
This-
truck. There's no EGR valve, but
It has the
provision for the EGR, which was never machined onto the top, and it makes the intake quieter.
yes, is this baffling this direction of the air coming in and then being directed towards the runners on the side makes the engine quieter, makes the air intake coming in quieter.
But it's a non-EGR. It's an EGR casting, but not
Without
drilled.
Drilled for the EGR valve.
Similar to what they have on the 6.2s. The 6.2s have an EGR valve sitting right there, and people put the 3/4 ton or the Hummer or the CUCV ones on to get rid of that so-called restriction. But
Yeah, it's common for 6.5ers that have this to cut this webbing or whatever out.
correct.
Because if you just cut it out, then you'll just have this circle in the middle.
Yeah, so it's hollow. It's just
It's
directional
hollow under,
webbing.
except for that circle. Because the circle is the EGR tower. Because
Right.
there will be a tower coming up in the center, and there's a gasket between the
I see.
tower in the center
Yep.
and this.
Yep.
And then the hole is up here for the valve.
That brings exhaust gas from the crossover.
Yep, it brings the exhaust gas comes up through the hole into the valve, and then there's two holes on the side that the exhaust gas comes up and then out back into
Back
the
into the
intake.
engine to be reburned,
Yeah.
which is basically what an EGR does. It reburns exhaust, only under certain vacuum conditions. So, should we clean that oil off a little bit and think it matters? There's a
Well,
crack
it's
on there.
going to get oily again.
I'm just thinking there might be some gasket material. Like there's some silicone here.
Yeah, you're right. Just wipe it off.
Or spray it with some more carb cleaner and wreck some more stuff. Here.
I don't think you're going to wreck anything on this.
Well, I sprayed
all
it on
aluminum.
I sprayed it on the top gasket of the what was it? The top gasket of the injection pump where the optical sensor goes, and the gasket started to warp. And it was a crappy gasket with all kinds of little shards. Make it all nice.
The old gasket is still on the top of the lower intake.
Correct. Someone put a little bit of sealer on there, which shouldn't cause a problem, but we'll just make sure there's no chunks.